this one brought positivity to a very negative stage in 2020 when the pandemic hit, and everybody was at home on our phones and everything. All of a sudden, there was this like virtual party
Yeah.
that like it was a club, like everybody wanted to be in the club. How many times were you in the club, Moose? The virtual
Oh,
club,
quite a
not
bit.
necessarily.
Quite a bit. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I know what you're talking about. I hit the club a few times, you know, especially to start. I think they got me once they said, yo, you're partying with Diddy and Will
That's
Smith
what I was
and
about to ask
Oprah.
you.
And I was
Like,
like, oh.
who was at the club with you?
Yeah, yeah. I had Diddy, you know, I ran into Diddy, you
Okay,
know, in the comments. uh, I think it was Diddy, Will Smith, and I think they mentioned Oprah as well. Yeah, yeah.
okay,
Those were the
okay.
three that stood out. Yeah.
When
What
I
about
went to the
you?
club, I had Bernie Sanders, I had DJ Khaled, I had Busta Rhymes, Michelle Obama was in the building, so
Hey.
that was a big deal. That was a big deal. But if you don't know who we're talking about, of course we're talking about D Nice. D Nice killed it this year. I
Yeah.
think uh definitely one of the biggest wins because from going from a DJ who not many of this time knew about.
Hmm.
Crazy is that he actually had like a number one Billboard rap track in 1990. No one knew that before he got famous on Instagram, right? No one knew. Well, I don't want to say no. Like true hip hop fans knew
Right.
about D Nice, so I don't want to discredit him. But like it opened up a whole world to understanding who D Nice was. And he was the model of what is happening right now. Like how we're seeing more people go live on a consistent basis, virtual events and everything, because D Nice really started going live every single day for like 12, 15 hours a day. Like
Yeah.
I was worried about his like eating. Like, do you eat, sir? Do you go to the bathroom? What's this like? Because you're going to miss people. Like he changed his hat. That was the best part for me. The
That was
changing
dope.
the hats
That was
part.
dope.
I
Yeah,
don't what
yeah.
was
Because
the
I
best
think,
part for you?
yeah, no, that I think is dope. You know why? Because it was that unique touch. It's like, oh, everybody's going live, but you know what? I'm gonna go live and I'm gonna put my element. I like hats, so I'm gonna switch hats every so often to put my unique spin to what everybody else is doing.
Right.
So not only what he was doing was so amazing, and it was lifting people's spirits during a time that many people needed it. But I think that unique touch of the hat switch up, you know, that was a real classy move too.
Yeah. So I wanted to play a clip of him talking about his virtual club and how important social media was to him.
We're just talking about how weird initially it was to um to communicate to people that this IG live thing in the very beginning actually felt, if I closed my eyes, I felt like I was in the room with all of these people. And I'm not talking
Yeah,
about when we hit 100,000 or anything like that. I'm talking about in the very beginning,
yeah,
the conversations that we were having in there while I was DJing. If I closed my eyes and played music, I would just imagine really being in a room with people. And how do you explain that? Like now, everyone is doing it. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
everyone has IG lives, and we all have shows, and we all have music, and we're all, other artists are doing their own thing, and it's great. But in the very beginning, it was like, how do you convince people that there's something magical about like social media, like the way we're using these platforms now?
So here's my question to you, right? Do you think people take social media a little bit more serious now with the pandemic compared to before? Did we take social media for granted? And now that this is the only thing that we have, now we see the value. What is your take on that?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think the value of social media has increased tremendously because now people, in a time when they were forced to connect, and they had no other distractions, no other means to do so, they were left to the only method that everybody else was using. So it was the IG Live, it was the reaching out and maybe collaborating with other people and doing lives together, interviewing, that kind of thing. So yeah, I would definitely say there's a great appreciation for social, but you also saw a lot of who was on track, like who's been steadily putting in work,
Yeah.
and then who also was not in position to do what they need to do and also took some steps back. Maybe some people who messed their things up as well, or messed up their just overall appearance online because they did some things that, shout out to you with your reels of like, the things that you should not do on live. And you saw a bit more of that as well because everybody just started hopping on the bandwagon. So, and that's really why I'm giving credit to his hat switch up, because that was the part that added his personal touch to it and was like, you know what? I'm gonna add my personal flavor in addition to what I'm doing. So that bonus to it was great. But I'm curious to know, what did you see? Because there's been a lot, that has come about from, what is it, 9 months pretty much in lockdown? What were some of the things that you noticed?
I think clearly the use of lives, I think, went up about 70% during this pandemic, right? I believe D Nice made it very acceptable and almost look easy, right?
Mm.
You have an occupation, which is DJing, that usually you see in the clubs. You have to be at an event physically, and a lot of artists, a lot of people who did things in person were struggling to figure out how to make money, how to bring attention to what they were doing online. And he said, I'm going to DJ the same way I would at some of these events that I was going to get paid for, right? And he did that, and so many opportunities opened up because he treated it as if he was really doing this for a paid gig, right? With that, I think people saw it and was like, okay, this is the new wave. Even though it's not new, right? This is the new wave. And I have to be consistent on live, on social media to get maybe even some of the attention, some of the opportunities that D Nice did, right? So he created this blueprint of what we know works in a pandemic as far as personal brands and branding just in general on social media. How do we uh, switch our normal from in person or interacting with people in real life? How do we do this when everybody is at home and distant? He literally made a virtual club. You could not get Will Smith, Ellen, Alicia Keys, P. Diddy, Michelle Obama, Bernie Sanders, everybody plus you, plus me, plus everybody in New York and California. He had 100K on one live. They celebrated it. That was the infamous, like, I wish I could have, do I have it? Let's see if I could pull it up. But that was a prime time to say, yo, this is the new norm. We have 100K in one room. Who does that?
Yeah.
No, like at that time, no one does that. Now, clearly, and we went over verses before. Shout out to the Swiss episode. Swiss and Tim now has hit the 1.8 million mark. So clearly beat D Nice, but before then, that was being really celebrated. That wasn't done before. We didn't see so many people in one area celebrating, just being positive in one spot. And so when you're looking at the trends and you're looking at what could possibly work with this new norm, it is treating what you would normally do in real life in your virtual life. How can I continue to do what I did in person right here through my phone, right here through my laptop, my computer. What kind of equipment do I need? And to start off, you don't need anything besides your phone. Like that's what he worked
Yeah.
with. He had his phone. He used the environment that he had, which is his crib. He had his turntables, he had all his hats, you know,
Hmm.
and he made it work. It got to the point where people were sending him food so he can eat, because I was worried. I'm not even gonna hold you. I was worried.
Right.
I was like, how are you gonna eat today? Are you because you're drinking a lot. Like, are you are you gonna eat
Right. We want
today?
you to get sick on us. Yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
I don't need you to get sick, but it was really dope to see and how he was one of the main reasons why verses happened. Like he started that. He's the reason
Yeah.
why other DJs started doing the same thing. Clearly not
Yep.
getting the same traction, but a lot more DJs all of a sudden did that. And they started to become more narrow as far as what songs they were playing. So you had this is the DJ that did the reggaeton one. This is the DJ that did uh early 90s. This is, and even just regular personal brands. Like I said, the lives went up 70%. 70%. So he still does it to this day. Does it get the same traction? No.
Yeah.
But he started something. He started not only a way to be positive in a negative situation, but you could almost say a business model
Oh, absolutely. Because it's
for
gonna change. Yeah, it's gonna change the trajectory of his career for God knows how long now. I think not even 72 hours into the lives, he was featured on New York Times.
mm-hmm.
So right, so like you add those kind of think of them like Emmys or awards to your resume. The price changes a little bit. You
Yeah.
you elevate. You make history in a sense. I mean, I don't know if that, and then prayerfully we don't go through another pandemic like the one that we did. So the part that I also want to highlight too, Nix, is the fact that he jumped out there before things were rolling, perfect, right? I mean, I don't know if he thought, I don't know, and I got to listen to some more of his interviews. I don't know if he started like with the thought like, yo, I'm going to start a live that reaches 100,000 people. I don't think that was the idea behind it, right? Like
Right.
that wasn't the intention. The intention was like, yo, let me just spread some positivity and hope, and whether or not where it goes or whatever happens, whatever comes from it, but just do something.